Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is JC, and we're here on the first episode of Dammit David. This is going to be possibly a weekly podcast where we talk about random crap that's on our mind. Right now, I got David with me.
Hello.
And I've got Michael.
Yo, what up, brah?
Alright, so in this first episode today, we're going to talk about Mass Effect 3. Earlier this week, Mass Effect 3's extended cut came out along with Dawn Guard, and that was kind of a conflict between what we wanted to play, but we took our time to watch the videos of the extended cut, and we've all got our separate opinions about them, but it's just we're gonna sit here and discuss them. So without further ado, let's talk about which one, the control ending first.
Yeah, sure.
I guess so. Yeah.
All right. So what the control ending was about, controlling the Reapers, where Shepard's mind was put into the Reapers and the synthetics.
Yeah, it was assimilated into the collective hive mind, as it were.
So I think what makes that one unique, that one's on my scale of the on how they, my favorite, the control ending would be my third favorite.
I think that'd probably be my favorite.
I agree. This is my third favorite because it's, I don't know. I mean, it's good, and what they did with the extension to it actually made it it stood out. It was different, but it just really didn't appeal to me all that much.
I kind of liked it, to be honest. I really liked it actually, because the extended cut made it much better. But I think just in the original one, overall, was really good because it kind of made sense with the Shepard character, sacrifice his life, take control, and help everybody. Basically rebuild everything.
See, I don't see it that way. I see it as he took it over, but he's now ruling with an iron fist, because it depending on how you played the game, up to that point, it could have been you rule with an iron fist, or you just try to keep the peace.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. It depended if your character was a renegade or a paragon kind of person.
Yeah.
So do that.
You see, what's cool about that ending is that physically Shepard dies, but it's that Shepard's mind dies, but it's reborn within the Reapers, and I feel like that's really cool because it's Shepard's still alive, but you're still not you're not the same person. It's something else controlling you with your mind, and I feel like that kind of adds a dynamic to what could happen, the questions afterwards. It's oh, Shepard can do this, Shepard can do that, but he's in the Reapers now.
And now he can do basically anything.
He can do everything. But I don't know, it depends on the character, really, about what he's gonna do afterwards. You saw in the extended cut that he rebuilt the mass relays.
And then he, kept the peace.
Yeah, and then he became, the peacekeeping force. He basically became the Spectres of the galaxy.
But the Spectres are the Spectres of the galaxy.
Whatever. I don't know. Didn't really explain the ending. Council could have been destroyed. The Spectres could be gone. You don't know.
I don't know.
See, that's a good point. Is because what the endings failed in the initial release of the on-disc endings was, again, they were the same ending, different color palette, and they never elaborated on what happened.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing I had about the original endings, was they didn't tell you anything about what happened afterwards. And that was I think that's what really got people angry about it, was because...
Yeah, definitely, the endings, at the end of a series, a video game series, you shouldn't have any more questions about the plot line.
Yeah,
exactly. I guess they should have gone back through this game, before they'd even, put it out there, and had just been, gotten some random person and been are there any more questions to this plot line that you don't have answered? Because when you leave, unanswered questions, I mean, that leaves room for, DLC to answer those, but then it's well, if you leave big questions out, what happens after, and you just put, a child and a person on the moon trying to explain something, and it just doesn't make sense. It didn't end the actual series.
Exactly.
Speaking of which, I noticed that in the extended cut that scene is not in the extended cuts, as far as what I could tell, but it is in the new refusal ending. But it's different. It's some woman and a child,
and she's explaining to him that the archive. Spoilers, by the way. Yeah, we spoiled the endings.
A little late for that, but hopefully by this time people would understand. I'm pretty sure many people know what Mass Effect 3 is.
In the audio description.
Exactly.
So, okay.
But let's talk about the refusal ending, because that was something new. That was a completely different choice than what was on the disc at the time of launch.
So great.
I thought that was awesome. The fact that you could completely just disregard and make an actual unique choice was really, really awesome.
Yeah, they definitely needed that from the beginning, because it was kind of like, it was one of those things about Mass Effect was you could choose to do something or you could choose to do nothing at all. And that was like the whole series was about that.
Making unique choices.
Yeah, and
making choices
make your own
that
choice.
Really impact the universe around you.
Yeah, so basically when they put that refusal, it really made the game much better. That was definitely probably the most look forward to ending, I think, of the entire extended cut.
Did they even mention that they were going to add on like another?
You see, I don't know what they wanted. I think they were going to elaborate on and just add more, but I don't know if they.
I don't think they ever
stated they were going to make
I don't know. I just expected it.
Like another choice.
Another choice, but
I guess then I just goofed and expected.
Right.
That
I mean, it's logical to think that they might add something.
Yeah.
About the refusal ending, what I think is really cool about that is, one, we figured out that to get to refusal ending, there's several ways you can like talk to the child and continue, and then just deny every choice that he brings up. Or then when you go to make a choice, you can shoot the kid. Yeah, which, I don't know if you've seen that, but you can actually shoot him, and then he'll say, so be it, and then you get the refusal ending.
It doesn't show you the, like, the speech, the Shepard speech that he does.
Yeah.
If you go through the dialogue.
If you go through the dialogue, you'll see that he's like, that your Shepard is...
It's a really awesome speech.
Denying everything, and then saying that we stand for this, and we'll fight the war
our own way.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
It's a good speech.
And then if you shoot the kid, he's just like, well, you screwed up, so...
Okay, I'm gonna throw my words, or throw this chance away, and I'm just gonna screw you up.
And what I think is cool about that ending, and like we saw in the comments that people were like, this is an outrage, this is like a middle finger from BioWare. But with like everything they talk about on the moon, wherever they are, the woman and the child, she talks about like they know now and they're better protected or something like.
Yeah, they what the woman suggesting is that they defeated the Reapers and they're safe now because of what Shepard and Dr. Liartasoni put all that archive together and early warning system for the Reapers. And what it's saying is they found it and they defeated the Reapers, and now the cycle has ended on their own terms, like in the speech what Shepard did.
See, and that's what is like an awesome thing about Mass Effect is that the story, the arc for Shepard, they're making that choice, the refusal choice, like ends that arc and then sets the stage for an entire new Mass Effect, which, you know, it's like that entire galaxy. The galaxy was like the cycle continued, life started over from like square one, and then thousands of years down, the Reapers come back. But this galaxy already knew about the Reapers. We didn't. In the original Mass Effect story, we heard about like what is it, Protheans?
The Protheans.
Yeah, the Protheans suggested something like that.
With their beacons. Apparently, the technology that they had wasn't really compatible with the current life forms, so it was kind of blurred and really obscure. So they didn't really get enough time to prepare. But with the archive and the black box, I guess, the new species could understand and had enough time to get everything together and defend themselves.
Be careful down there.
That would be. I'm not sure on the scale of how I like things, but The refusal ending's up there.
I think it's my second favorite. It's my second favorite.
Now, what would be your favorite?
Synthesis, of course. It's the best ending, for me, at least. It's basically what the universe, what the Reapers wanted to happen, basically, you know, because what I think was the Reapers wanted them to make the choice to either get rid of them now and continue on living in this way or in this way, but with the synthesis ending, that's the one they really wanted them to choose, I think, because it's complete and total peace and
Right.
everything, yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like that ending at all, to be honest. I thought that was like my least favorite. I just didn't want to do it. It was just kind of... It wasn't... I'm not really sure how to describe this as much as I just didn't think it was a very good choice. I didn't think Shepard would make a choice like that.
I think, well, the way I played, yes, that was the choice he would have made.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really... So, all these choices just depend on how you played the game and how you felt like doing this. I mean, it's still kind of sad that they narrowed the game down to 4 choices at the end, but either way, it's still like... I don't know. That choice just didn't seem to me. It was either, like, control them or destroy them. That was, like, my only 2 choices. When I played in, like, the original, just, like, the original one, and I played through all the choices, because I was like, oh, I really need to understand these. I was kind of like, Synthesis ending was bad, and I thought, like, the destroying ending, just destroying the Reapers, was, like, the best ending I could have done. The Control one was just kind of sloppy. And
when you choose that ending, you don't just destroy the Reapers, you destroy all synthetic life. In the galaxy.
That was
See, that's why I thought it would be a bad ending, because you're destroying all the good synthetics, but you know, you're also destroying the bad synthetics. The Geth, if you didn't, you know, convert them or like give them consciousness.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. It was just I didn't really love the synthetic ending, and I just preferred like wipe the Reapers out now or take control of them and get them out of here.
So you're obviously a fan of the destroy ending,
Probably, yeah. That'd be number 2. I'd say that's number 2, Refusals number 3, and then Synthetic is number 4.
Alright. Yeah, mine is definitely the synthesis ending as my favorite. Because I feel like ultimately it's just better for the galaxy that the Reapers, a higher power, can work with a lower power in all the species. And I feel like that's the best way to advance change and advance life. And you see, nothing's better than like absolute peace, because unless something else is greater than the Reapers, then there's no other bigger threat to the galaxy. Unless there's intergalactic war, which I don't see that ever happening.
I don't know, man. Mass Effect 4.
So what I think is most unique about the extended cut is not only are you able to make that choice here, it's just more elaborate. And let's talk about why they did the extended cut. Like, okay, so like the reason behind it was people were like outraged and confused and just generally upset.
The whole plot line
They didn't tie up the plot.
Terrible.
That everything, I think what it was is that everything you built up to
It was.
in Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2 and then finished in Mass Effect 3, you felt that it was all for naught.
Exactly.
And that you were given just 3 choices, and they were, no matter how you chose them, they were like practically the same ending.
And you couldn't really see the effect of your choice with the original.
Right.
Because, you know, you kind of did see the effects with, like, the Krogan. Like, if you saved their pieces, you saw the picture with the baby Krogan and...
Right, and then there was, in the synthesis ending, you could see the Quarians and the Geth working
together.
And then,
yeah.
You see, that's unfortunate for me, because I annihilated the Quarians, so I'll never see that.
Yeah, I got him to make peace. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I really liked that scene. Was awesome.
Well, I had to do it.
Legion was one of my favorite characters in that game.
It's same here. I loved Legion, and then I did all my romantic subplots with Tally. So, except for
I
obviously
did,
in the first
my-
one, I did it with Ashley. But
I did it with Ashley, then I went to Tali because Ashley wasn't even in the second game. Well, except for that one part. And then I went back to Ashley because they remodeled her. So, you know.
Of course, the remodeling is what
Really.
really puts her in the squad now.
But she really isn't very an interesting character.
No.
oh,
she isn't
She
at
was
all.
so boring. Just through all the games.
She's just
I thought she was
regular.
boring.
She's normal.
Yeah,
She
she
was
was
that
that
one
normal
person.
Marine that
Yeah.
you just happen to come across.
That you happen to have relations with all the damn time.
Right.
Make the babies.
But what I think, but why did people want these endings? And
They wanted it because it didn't explain what happens after. That's what I thought. That's why I was angry, because they didn't explain what happens after.
right, and then like initially, I first watched the ending. My first, I only played the ending once, so I chose the synthesis ending because I was like, when I got to that stage on the Crucible, talking to the child, I was like, okay, I was already a little bit frustrated that there were 3 decisions. I thought there was going to be like an ultimate decision,
Like
an ultimate ending, like
that was created by your choices.
yeah, right, and that's how I still feel like it should have been.
That's exactly how it should have been. But
It should have been that way.
The
But I
writer
played.
for Mass Effect 3 was just terrible. He was just whoever made the plot line for Mass Effect 3 just did a really poor job at it. Just right from the beginning, just did a poor job with that whole like I
As
don't
far
know
as-
if anybody who's
I
ever
disagree.
listening to this, just in Mass Effect 1, at the ending of Mass Effect 1, you picked the counselor. If you picked Anderson or Udina, at the beginning of Mass Effect 3, and like in Mass Effect 2, you obviously it shows you Anderson or Udina as the counselor. In Mass Effect 3, it didn't matter. It was always Admiral Anderson came to you, and it was fine if they had put in like Anderson stepped down for me. But like Anderson was supposed to be the counselor for me, and to not see anything from that, it kind of upset me. I was like, why is Anderson still here? Anderson should be somebody else, because that just it would have made sense to me. It would have made a better story.
also, oh, never mind. I was gonna say, like, if you chose to save the council, does that actually show up in the third game? Because I don't know. 'Cause I didn't save the council.
Yeah, I didn't save the council either.
See, exactly. That's
I don't
one
think
thing.
anybody would have saved the council. They were all dicks.
And that's you bring up a good point. Something I've not thought about is that the council served as this big force. Like they were the bullies in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah,
Like they
it was
bullied
very
Shepard around,
Yeah.
and then they just wouldn't believe you. And then at the end of Mass Effect 1, you had that choice to either kill the douchebags or save them. You know?
How would that have affected, like, Mass Effect 3? Like,
And I
don't
feel
know.
like if I went back to play it, it wouldn't affect it at all. Probably.
I don't know.
I feel like it'd be completely different counselors. I mean, obviously the Solarian counselor is going to be different because
Just,
Solarians
yeah.
don't have long lives. But I don't know. It was just kind of like I bet the endings, the whole game probably doesn't change. They made like one plot line for Mass Effect 3.
I love this.
And it was
I disagree with Michael on the fact that it was very well written. It was a good story. I enjoyed it all the way through, but they had a couple issues that they probably need to fix.
I don't know,
before they
the
released
story
it.
wasn't that. I mean, it was an okay story, but I think it didn't take enough of the choices that you made from Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2 and put them into Mass Effect 3.
I think the reason is for that is because it was really ambitious at the time to do this.
Yeah,
because
I
this
mean,
was
it
something completely unique.
It
They
makes
knew
sense
what they were
that-
doing from the beginning, but they didn't know how they were going to do it.
But I thought by the third game that they'd have this down, that they'd know that here's all the choices you can make and here's all the ways you can affect the game. And I felt like in Mass Effect 3, they didn't regard all the choices that you made. They kind of threw some out the window because they didn't.
Yeah,
mean
choices
anything.
that were regarded as big in other games weren't really
very impactful.
weren't
and-
very noticeable in Mass Effect 3. Like I noticed in Mass Effect 1, I knew that, you know, at the time it was going to be a trilogy, and so I saved the Arachnite Queen. You know, I was like, oh, she'll be a fantastic ally for whatever happens. And then it was just like out of nowhere. I was entirely confused when I went on that Rachni mission, and
no Rachni Queen.
There was like no Rachni Queen, or it was like someone completely different. And even then, I had the same choice: kill them or save them. You know, it's like if I made that choice in Mass Effect 1, shouldn't that just be definitive?
Yeah. Why did I make that choice in the first game if I'm just gonna have to make it again?
If I'm gonna have to make it again.
Yeah, and then like, why was the Rachni taken over by the Reaper so quickly? Like,
well, it's because they're a simple race. They're not very intelligent.
Yeah, but I mean, how'd they get messed up so quickly?
Because
I mean, they attacked Earth.
Did you see how many Reapers there were?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, like they attacked Earth first. I don't know if you remember, they attacked Earth first. How did they get to the Rachni before me?
They didn't attack Earth first.
Yeah, they did. When they says, oh, okay, they attacked the Batarians first.
Yeah, they attacked they moved in because the Batarians is the furthest away from the center of the galaxy.
And that's what was
out. And then they came in
Arrival in Mass Effect 2.
In Arrival, you completely prevent them from jumping like straight in at that time. So they had to actually fly all the way in. They couldn't warp through the mass relay.
I don't know. Either way, it was still kind of like the Rachni Queen getting fucked up.
So I hate to backtrack, but let's go back to the endings. And wasn't the reason behind BioWare making the extended cut was because of community outrage towards the original endings. And it begs the question were the original endings part of BioWare's design when they developed Mass Effect? Was that their original idea they had in mind for the endings, to make the people that played the game upset? And so I think what brings this up is the indoctrination theory. If you haven't heard about that, it's the entire indoctrination theory premise is Shepard is under a dream, under the entire end game sequence, and all the endings are like, what is it? They're going to be the same, and then I played as a female. She has to ultimately make a decision.
Yeah.
You know.
She has to make the decision. She has no choice but to make a decision. She can't refuse. But they fixed that with the refusal. With the
refusal ending, and so I wonder if that's what I think it possibly could have been BioWare's original intent for that.
But because of the community outrage, they changed it.
Exactly, because of the community outrage, they changed their entire way they wanted the game to end. I mean, I've read like blogs and whatnot and like Casey Hudson saying like, let's leave them speculating, something like that along those lines, and they did just that with the original endings. But it pissed us off.
Yeah, we didn't want that. That's what not exactly.
I think maybe if they did do the indoctrination theory, I just don't think they showed it enough that you would understand. Oh, this is the indoctrination theory. Like, this is a dream.
I think they wanted to do that initially. Make it so you were indoctrinated. Like, because the video we watched pointed out all these things about it, and maybe I was thinking like those were left in there from their initial try at the ending, but they changed it because they were like, maybe we should do this. Maybe this is going a little bit too far.
I don't know, maybe I think it makes sense with the dream as like the indoctrination theory,
right?
Like you play through all of Mass Effect 3 and they're dreams, and you go through those dreams, and maybe that's like. It seems like that would be the indoctrination happening to you, and then in Game 3, at the very end, you become indoctrinated.
Right, and you see the indoctrination theory throughout all of Mass Effect. Like, even in Mass Effect 1, early on, you hear about the indoctrination. So it's not far-fetched to think that could be a possible reason to the endings. But what makes it unbelievable is the reason really why. I mean, Shepard was like immune to indoctrination up to that entire
point of the video game. Why
to the entire point of the video game, and then at the very end, it seems weird that she would just break, and then all of a sudden be under indoctrination.
Well, I mean, you saw it all through Mass Effect 3. Like when you lost somebody. Shepard got mad, and he was, I mean, like,
well, it's just
the one time I remember, I don't remember what happened.
It's because he's human, though. He's still human.
Yeah, no, I mean, but...
Just because he's the player character.
No, but I mean, like, you still saw him get, like... He looked like he was getting fatigued throughout the game, and he was getting stressed out, and he was getting super annoyed with people, and it seemed like something was wearing and tearing on him.
It was the whole war. It was the whole situation.
Yeah, and
I think it could be several things. I know what you're trying to say, Michael. It's
yeah, like, just overall throughout the game, he just eventually broke just because of the war and just everything piled on. And he was
plus, he got shot with a laser. So.
Yeah, and he got shot with a laser, so I think maybe just at the end, he just said, "Oh, I'm out."
Couldn't physically or mentally do it anymore.
Yeah, he was just done.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of things that you can do to justify that the ending, that theory is not legitimate, but it definitely poses a very valid argument into the original endings. And I'll play on BioWare's side for the moment. I was content with the original endings. You know, I played one ending and I was like, oh well, yeah, I'm a little bit frustrated, but it's finished. You know, and I was happy to have completed the game. Not the way it didn't end the way I wanted to, but I was content with it, and I could live with what happened in the synthesis ending because that's what I chose. But what I'm trying to get to is BioWare had a reason for doing what they did. And then I feel like it's a little bit unfair that the community rose up against them and said, like, no, you built your game wrong. The game they developed, we think it's crap. You know, there's nothing hurts more than saying that, like, millions of people saying, you did this wrong, you failed, we are all pissed off, and we hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I think, like, when we say this, I really hope the community doesn't get, like, game developers don't think the community got power from them. Like, the community now has the option that if we don't like a game,
well, that's
can
all right
put out
as consumers. If we don't like something, we can change it.
Right. We should be able to change it.
I don't think we should be able to change it like this, though. That's, like, completely changing
part of the
yeah,
that also brings up the question, is video games art?
Are they art? Exactly, like, because it was, BioWare had that in mind when they were developing Mass Effect, and then, it's like, if you look at a painting, the artist had that painting in mind. Someone might not like it, some people will like it, but you shouldn't, like, the one person that doesn't like it shouldn't be able to change the entire painting, you know, or a big portion of the painting.
Yeah, definitely, and, like, I just don't want to see it happen to other games because people didn't like the game. They were like, this game sucks, and it was like, well, you thought it sucked, but I thought it was great. And you shouldn't be, the community shouldn't be allowed to do those kinds of things. I think the game developer, like, if I were to develop a game, and I developed it how I wanted it, and I really liked it, I don't think someone should be able to tell me, even if it's millions of people, you screwed up, we don't like your game. I'm going to be like, well, too bad, you paid for my game, you thought it was going to be good, you wanted it to be something, and it wasn't. I'm sorry, it's how I wanted it to be, and it's how I developed it. I created this.
And that's what's important about this is, Mass Effect at the very beginning when it released in, what was it, 2007? Or 2008?
2000.
It was 2008, whenever Rock Band released. It was our 8th grade year, so that was... whatever.
Yeah, 2008.
Yeah, anyway, Mass Effect didn't have that big of a following. Mass Effect 2, great game, extraordinary game, and that's what put Mass Effect on the charts as being one of the best games, and led to Mass Effect 3 being one of the most anticipated games of 2012.
I would just like to go on saying I pre-ordered Mass Effect before anybody else knew about it, so... Mass Effect hipster right here.
David's being a hipster over here. But, you see, that's what happened. I mean, I think all along, BioWare might have had this vision in mind for Mass Effect. Because they originally announced it was going to be a trilogy. They might have had a vision in mind on how they wanted it to end. And they got as close as they could with that ending. And what happened was that Mass Effect became so anticipated that people were expecting something monumental to happen. You know, like, as we were saying, something like all your choices collaborate into this one ending.
And you defeat the Reapers and everybody
and then
happy
you
fun times.
defeat the like, I was thinking all your choices in all the... God damn, I was thinking about the war assets and how that's a completely different topic. But how, like, everything would... You either defeat the Reapers or you don't.
Yeah, like...
You see, I was thinking it was...
Mass Effect 2 endings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Was like, there should have just been 2 endings.
It should have just been a dynamic, clear-cut thing.
Yeah.
And it was just that anticipation that people... That killed Mass Effect 3. Something that should have been really good. Got all this hype around it, and after it launched, people hated it. And no doubt it's great that BioWare actually responded to the community.
Yeah, I think
you see, that would have been...
they listened was actually really good.
The fact that they listened was really good. And if they hadn't listened, that would have been an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, they addressed it in, like, several press releases and tweets on Twitter. Casey Hudson was like, yeah, we've taken a look at what the community feedback is, and we'll do this extended cut thing. But you see, again, he was hesitant about it because he was the director of it. I think he wanted it to end the way it originally ended.
Yeah. Well, and then they put out this DLC for free.
That's also
I mean, that was expected.
You don't have to download this thing, too.
Right.
Yeah.
If you don't want to see it, you don't have to see it.
But I mean, I would be hesitant about it too because you obviously you have to put it out for free. Everybody's just gonna hate you if you try to make money off of
just because of the launch day DLC, they would have been even more pissed. We'll get to that later.
But I mean, just like I lost my train of thought.
All right. Well, if you get it back, then feel free to jump in at any time. But let's talk about the positives of Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect in general.
Krogans.
Krogans.
I love that story. That was awesome. That made me feel all fuzzy inside.
That was a good story, yeah.
And spoiler alert: when Thane died, I got a little bit teary-eyed because he was one of my.
He was an awesome character. Although you kind of knew because
you kind of expected he was going to die eventually anyway.
But you didn't expect him to get shot.
I thought maybe you'd be able to find a cure for him or something that would help him, like just something that would prolong the pain a little bit.
But I don't think he would have taken it because
he doesn't seem like the character.
He planned to die.
Right.
So
I thought maybe he would survive because I totally loved him. All of Mass Effect 2, he was my one character that I kept in through the entire game.
Thane and Legion was my characters that I used.
Yeah, it was Thane and Garrus for me every time. Just always had them. They were always on my side. It was one of the best times with them.
See, that's what Mass Effect was really good at. Was developing a relationship with characters.
This is what Mass Effect was about. That was the story of Mass Effect. It was about all the other characters. It wasn't about Shepard. It was about how Shepard helped these people and took, matters into his own hands and helped people in need and developed all these characters.
You got to experience what other characters felt and be able to connect with a character. The connection was important.
Yes.
Like, you felt a connection with something, and not many other video games do that.
No.
Yeah, definitely, like, you play characters in a game, and you kind of get that sense in them, but I think in Mass Effect, it really kind of...
so strong that
brought you
into
that
emotions.
game, and you almost became Shepard a little bit.
Right.
Like, you really put yourself into the game. And I think that's what game developers try to do a lot of the times.
But nobody succeeded.
Yeah, nobody
as much
succeeded
as
like
Mass
Effect has, and will probably be the best character development I think for a while.
It's a good point. Good point.
It does help that BioWare has had really good writers since KOTOR and Jade Empire, but
exactly.
Yeah.
you see, they had all this experience building up to it, and Mass Effect 3 was... If you disregard everything that happened at the end of Mass Effect 3, with like all the...
Color changes.
Yeah, all the stuff around the endings, Mass Effect 3 was... I think was a decent title.
It was a good game. It was.
It wasn't Mass Effect 2 big.
The combat was nice. I mean, it was a bit simplified, and I liked how they brought upgrades back into the game because they took those.
Right.
Out.
It brought an RPG element that Mass Effect 1 had.
Yeah.
And then.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then.
I definitely have to agree. Like,
Mass Effect 2 was more
all of Mass Effect
a third-person
really
shooter
good.
than it was an RPG.
Yeah, I think. Like, the whole Mass Effect, just like, I say I didn't like the game, but I mean, I did like it. I just didn't like the plot. But I mean, like, just shooting in that game was just the best shooting. I loved just doming a Cerberus officer and his head exploded. That was like the best thing ever. I was like, yes, this is great.
You see, and that's what is great about Mass Effect's fun, is that the game is fun.
Yeah.
It's not a game that's like a burden. And then
it's fun all the way through.
I unloaded hundreds of hours into all 3 titles across the board on different characters. Played Mass Effect 1 so many times, Mass Effect 2 countless times, and then I've not gotten the chance to play Mass Effect 3 since the endings. So many other games have come out, and
it just wouldn't feel like it'd be any different if you played it again.
You see, that's what's disappointing about Mass Effect 3 is.
Yeah.
Because you know how it ends, and somewhere subconsciously you're like, I don't want the end.
You can't make any more.
You can't change it.
You can't change what's going to happen next because there is nothing next. It's
yeah,
done.
that definitely saddened me because like I went through and played Mass Effect again, like everybody, and like I played Mass Effect 1, I played Mass Effect 2 because I thought when I first bought Mass Effect 3 I didn't have my original Mass Effect files, so I played Mass Effect 3 with just the default character that they give you. Made a few choices. I was like, pick Ashley or Caden and all that stuff. And, like, that was fun and all. And I played it, and I got to the ending, and I thought, oh, the ending, it's going to change when I go back through and play Mass Effect 1 and then go to Mass Effect 2 and Mass Effect 3. But it was the exact same, and I was like, really? This is kind of dumb. Why did I just waste... Because I completely did Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2.
I don't think it was wasted if you had fun.
I don't know. I mean, I did have fun for Mass Effect 1 and Mass Effect 2, but it was like 40 hours of just wasted, I guess, sort of wasted time.
It felt wasted.
It felt wasted, yeah. It felt wasted because I thought I could make different choices in Mass Effect 3, and then it wasn't different at all. And I was like, why did I spend my time doing this? I already knew the endings.
Yeah, that's really good. I think what we need to take away from Mass Effect is that there are developers out there like BioWare. I'm not sure how many people are going to trust them after this, or what BioWare is even going to do next after Mass Effect 3.
Dragon Age 3 probably.
Yeah, and that brings up
probably.
a whole bunch of issues.
Oh my god!
Let's not even talk about Dragon Age.
Yeah, I don't want to blame EA, but I'm
not saying it was EA,
but it might have been EA.
But it might have been EA.
Because all the other games were awesome. Coder, Jade Empire, Mass Effect 1 and 2. Even though it was EA, but
it was EA, and then
Mass Effect 3 was right when EA started to get,
EA started to put their boot in everybody's business.
And they wanted to control and milk as much money as they could.
Let's get off.
But let's not talk about EA because we'll be flamed or something.
That'd be awesome.
Oh god, they're gonna have like commandos come through the windows and steal this mic and hard drive and
laptop.
Bust in. Get rid of the video off YouTube, Completely shut us down. You can't silence the voice. I'm the voice of the people.
Don't start with that, Michael. We're not calling him that.
So I think, are we done with our Mass Effect discussion? I mean,
I think
we could.
Most of it.
There were more things we could have talked about, dealing with the flaws and the good things about Mass Effect 3.
But that's just
one thing I want to.
Your own opinions about that.
one thing I want to point out is what I think BioWare failed to capitalize on was the whole war asset thing, where it was a number.
Oh, yeah.
All it was a number.
Yeah, it was a number.
It kind of made it feel less like
when you got
personal.
to the ending and that didn't really matter.
Like,
and
I gotta get
it just
higher
warped
number.
ships in, and you were like, well, what's the point of that?
I mean, no doubt that entire Earth attack sequence was really neat.
It was really,
really well done.
I would have liked to see the javelin missiles on the Crucible that you equipped if you got that, and you see a Reaper just get torn in half by this really awesome missile sequence.
When you were on Earth, you saw different species. Cause I never really saw that many species on Earth. You had
I don't know the lore behind that. There might be a lore behind sanctions, you have to have a visa, or it was because it was also in the embassy.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think what he's talking about is on the actual attack on Earth. When you go to Earth and you're trying to get up to the Crucible or the Citadel.
Yeah.
There weren't many other alien species.
You just saw humans there, and I was like, well, why don't I have a Geth Prime at my back, destroying everything in front of me?
It's because most of them were up in space.
I didn't see no Geth when I went in. When all the ship warped in, I didn't see a Geth with a jetpack in there just shooting a Reaper up.
That's true. Well, yeah, we're
I mean,
I get what you're saying.
I saved so many species. I got so many war assets, and it was like
you didn't see what happened.
You never saw any of that. You saw you obviously saw the Turians show up, and it was like, okay. You saw the humans and the Turians, and
you didn't
maybe
really get
the
to see
Koreans.
all the people you saved.
Yeah,
you see again. I think what that did is
it's kind of
Mass Effect 3 built up that excitement and that
you were going to be able to see all these
this expectation of what you would be able to experience at the end of Mass Effect 3. There's all this stuff in Mass Effect 3 building up to the end, and then it was just it felt sloppy. It felt awkward is what it
felt sloppy. Yeah,
I can understand why people felt robbed.
Yeah, I felt robbed.
I felt robbed too, definitely. And the Galaxy at War thing, playing multiplayer,
that's kind of dumb.
If you got it to over 90% and it said, "Oh, Allied forces are winning, it's steadily pushing Reapers back," I was like,
and then
you go into the actual game and
you reject an
Reapers
ending,
are everywhere.
Lose.
Yeah.
And you're pushing the Reapers back. Yeah, I would have liked to seen a rejection succeed ending too.
Right.
Yeah, that would have been cool if they had just had more.
You see, I've not thought about that. That was really good. That's something. Why couldn't there have been something where Shepard didn't have to die?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you see,
choices. The choice.
If there was an ending where Shepard didn't have to die, then this extended cut would have been golden.
I don't think Shepard died in the rejection ending. Well, he
did,
he
but
he didn't die on the Crucible. You wouldn't think.
Right.
Well,
it doesn't explain that. But
I think he did because I think it was kind of assumed that he died because he was so wounded when he walked in.
Well, if you watch the destruction ending after that, and you see the N7 dog tags, and you see him move.
Yeah, I saw that, but I don't...
if he wasn't gonna die from the Crucible exploding,
what was he gonna die from?
A gunshot? No, I don't think so.
Yeah,
and you had health regen. Come on, game mechanics.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, obviously, there's probably lore behind that.
And I mean, Shepard was a half a robot from Mass Effect 2.
He probably had all sorts of health tissue.
Yeah.
Well, the upgrades, some of the upgrades in Mass Effect 2 was.
He had metal bones and stuff like that, so I mean he could have survived, but I feel like it was kind of supposed to be assumed that he died. He was supposed to die there.
You see, I think I finally figured out what I wanted. I think what I wanted was to see all my work. What I wanted to see all my work put together, and then I wanted to see us win without having to use a super weapon. I wanted to see Galactic.
Awesome.
Like in Mass Effect 1, the galaxy was so separated.
Style.
Yeah.
And then I finally bring the whole galaxy together. Why couldn't we win? Why can't we win without a super weapon?
Yeah.
Why couldn't we do that? I feel like that's something that should have been an option.
We could have, yeah. because of
Yeah,
all the
I feel
things you
like
were
in the
collecting.
pod-
All the things that are in the game, including like what you said,
And
multiplayer.
it kind of leads to. That's what it's kind of hinting at. That you
that
can win.
you can win without this. You don't need the
You don't need
Crucible.
this
That's
super
how I
weapon.
felt like.
Yeah.
I thought the Crucible was
Definitely.
an option, to be honest.
Yeah, I was kind of annoyed because I was like, when they made the game, I assumed, like, coming from Mass Effect 2, that you'd fight the Reapers, like, in hand-to-hand, basically. And your ships would be able to take on the Reapers. I mean, when you play Mass Effect 1 and the Normandy blasts through the Reaper and everything like that, I was kind of like, okay, these Reapers seem like you could take them on, like Sovereign. You blasted right through them. And they took them on easily, and I was like, okay, this is cool. This is cool.
And then one
But
Reaper
then-
shows up in Mass Effect 3 and just
Yeah,
tears
one
shit up.
Reaper in Mass Effect 3, and apparently nobody can destroy it.
Shepard on foot can beat a Reaper.
Yeah.
You see, that's the thing. Was that something BioWare wanted to... I mean, we saw, like what we said in Mass Effect 1, there was like the entire Citadel fleet, and the only way to beat Sovereign was to catch him off guard. That was the only way to have actually beat him, was the Normandy to go in there, and there were still hundreds of casualties.
Yeah.
You know, and then in Mass Effect 2 was there wasn't any Reaper in Mass Effect 2.
Yeah, there was.
It was
at the very end, in the collector base.
Oh yes,
yes.
yeah. The human Reaper. I mean, but you see, that thing is massive. You see, I think what. Oh, and yeah, the thing on foot where you're on the Quarian,
The Corian home planet.
the home planet, and then.
You just kind of like
Yeah.
Normandy, shoot this area, and then it's like.
But you see, it wasn't the Normandy. It was the entire Quarian fleet.
Oh, it was.
That was the thing.
I'm sorry. I messed up.
Was it BioWare trying to say, hey, these things are massive, and then alone you
That's
can
a
take
good
care of
point.
them, but scale-wise...
It's much bigger. It's much harder to kill one of these things than you think.
Yeah,
Right,
I feel like
but-
they didn't scale off the like Reaper invasion so well. Like it seemed like there
Because it
was.
seems like there was like more, like
Yeah, there should have been like. From what it seemed like they were saying, there was thousands of Reapers, and I was like, I don't
more
think there's-
Reapers than there were like people in the universe.
Yeah, that's what I think it was trying to play at that, because, like, you go play in the actual game, and there's a
The end of-
Reaper in every solar system,
and
and it was like,
at the end of Mass
why?
Effect 2, you see that huge scene where all those Reapers are flying at the screen.
Right, and you
It
see...
looks like there's like thousands of them.
And it was like, how are there so many? I feel like there wasn't supposed to be that many. I feel like when they made that whole scene, they just hit copy and paste,
Copy
and
paste.
I accidentally copy and pasted too many times.
You see, but you have to take into fact that this is actually Galaxy. You know, galaxies are big.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
thousands of Reapers isn't that too far-fetched. And I had that feeling throughout Mass Effect 3 that I need to do everything in my power, because subconsciously I figured there were thousands of Reapers, and the only way we could defeat them was, one, with the Crucible, which I thought was an option. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, and then you could just collaborate and get everybody, you know? I thought that was like the clear-cut choice that you could end was just pure, like, full-on war.
Yeah,
you know.
'cause, like in Mass Effect 1, you destroy Sovereign, it didn't seem that hard.
Well, Sovereign was a smaller Reaper.
He was smaller, but I think it was
He was like really small, I think.
well,
compared
either
to-
way, then not all the Reapers are gonna be massive. I mean, the bigger ones, obviously, you're gonna have trouble with, but I think the smaller ones, we should have been able to deal with easily, and there should have been more Reaper casualties, from what it seemed. It seemed like
It seemed
like if you had 100% the galaxy at war, and then you went to play the actual game,
And you had like maximum,
and
whatever it was.
yeah, and it was
Galactic
like,
readiness and
yeah, the galactic readiness was at 100%, and it was like you got in there, and the galactic readiness didn't mean anything. You go to like the God, what's their name? Blue people.
sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. You go to the Asari homeworld, and you go there, and they're just getting destroyed, and it's like, well, why are you getting destroyed when you should have been completely ready?
Because they hadn't joined up with the rest of the races yet.
But still, they should have been. I think at 100% readiness, they still
I just
should
don't
have
think they
been
showed
more
enough of
prepared.
They might have. I don't know. We don't know that. Like, what you're saying is all fine and good, but we don't really know because the Reapers were attacking all over the planet. So
I don't know. It seemed like they didn't
they might
convey.
have.
If they did, then they didn't convey it very well.
They didn't,
Any
yeah.
kind of status. It just seemed like devastation everywhere you went.
But I think that's what
Almost
they were trying
like-
to do. I think that's what they were trying to do because it felt like they tried to make the Reapers these impending doom. Like there's no way out of this. You have to die. But what they were trying to do with Shepard was this is your choice. This is how you defeat the Reapers. You get the universe together and you go and attack and you win and you happy days and some rainbows and sunshine.
Right.
So, eternity.
I just think they failed at conveying that kind of situation. It seemed like total desperation, and then you get this one all-saving thing, just the Crucible. Saves everything, and I was like, man, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
And then how the Crucible worked, it just didn't seem to make sense to me. Like, it just releases this blast.
I don't think it could have worked any other way. Like, how else would it have worked?
I thought maybe it was gonna be like a big gun.
See,
Like,
that
you just
would have
have to
taken
individually-
too long.
I know it would have taken too long, but it kind of made more sense to me than just a blast.
Kind of like a
You're
Halo
aim
Reach
the
thing, where at
thing.
the end of it you're just a giant chart, and then you're
Yeah.
just flying around the galaxy in this giant gun
Yeah, that's
blaster
what I
Reaper.
thought. That's what I seriously. I thought it was gonna be like a Thanos cannon from Mass Effect 2, just one massive Thanos cannon, and you're just gonna shoot each individual Reaper and destroy all of them.
Or at least push them back farther.
Yeah, at least push them back far enough that
You can get a hold of the situation and
Yeah.
destroy them.
you can easily.
I don't know. I feel like the Crucible was kind of it was a weird plot device.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was basically the end plot device.
Right.
the whole plot was just weird. Mass Effect 3.
Okay, so I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this, but there's after the extended cut was released, Casey Hudson on Twitter tweeted that he was like, so now that that's out of the way, what would you guys think about more DLC? And then like an actual paid DLC for Mass Effect 3. And the rumor is that, or I don't know if it's been rumored or confirmed.
Yeah, it was sort of rumored that there's this thing called like the Leviathan.
The Leviathan, where it's like a Reaper.
Yeah,
They're
it's supposed to
controlling some planet of miners on a mining planet or something.
Yeah, it's controlling like miners or something, and then apparently somewhere along the plot, you have the choice of either you can take control of this Reaper and use him as a war asset or not. And I was like, that just seems
Or destroy
dumb.
it.
Yeah,
Right,
destroy
and you see, I already feel like that DLC is gonna flop because what we just talked about,
Yeah.
the asset's not gonna matter. You're still gonna have the same ending.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Why would anybody buy something when they already know the ending to the
And
game?
I think the only reason I'd pay for that DLC is if they put in just that cutscene where all the ships are flying in and you actually see the battle before you land on Earth. I think if maybe it fixed that real quick and like threw in all the war assets and pictures and shit.
Flashy
That'd be
stuff.
awesome.
That'd be-
That would be cool. I'd pay for the DLC just to watch that cinematic like 2
They
minutes.
should, yeah. Maybe they'll do a movie. They were I know there was talk about a movie about this, but
If any, that's a
If
whole different topic.
if any game should be a movie, it could be this one. But
Well,
Yeah.
definitely. It's Mass Effect. It should most definitely be a movie.
I don't want to talk about that. Never
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's not talk about that though. Let's stay on Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, we're coming up on an hour now. You guys wanna? Should
Yeah.
this be it? Are we done with our discussion?
I
We're
guess
good.
Yeah, I guess so.
Alright, well, that was a fantastic discussion, and that was the first episode of Dammit David. So, leave a like, and please, comment.
Share it with your friends.
Yeah,
If you liked
sure.
it.
Yeah, and let us know what you think about this, because you can recommend topics on what we could talk about, and you can hear our opinions on them, and then we might do another show, and it might not always be David and Michael. It might not. David doesn't have to be here for Dammit David.
It's usually,
David.
I'm usually not there for Dammit David.
Poor David.
It could be me, Mark, and Joey, me, Joey, and Michael, or
We'll
something.
talk about the origins of Dammit David.
Yeah, in a future episode, you'll learn where Dammit David came from.
Probably the best story ever.
Is it better than Mass Effect 3?
Hell
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
opinion.
it is. It's a
It's
much
totally
better story
better.
than Mass Effect 3. better plot.
I wasn't
So
even
much
in
better
the
plot.
room. Not even in the room.
Alright.
Oh, David.
You did
Alright,
good.
we'll see you next time.
You did good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Anderson?